Good morning, Anne Arundel County. Thank you for joining us today for the Anne Arundel County delegation meeting. Today is January 16th. We do have a special guest, but before we get started, we did want to take roll from the delegation. Mr. Secretary, could you please take the roll?
Okay, we'll get the roll going. Roll for the joint delegation meeting, 16 January 2016. Vice Chair Simmons,
Present.
Speaker Pena-Melnick, Delegate Bagnall,
Here.
Delegate Barnes, Delegate Bartlett,
Here.
Delegate Baylor,
Here.
Delegate Chang,
Here.
Delegate Chisholm,
Here.
Delegate Howard,
Here.
Delegate Jones,
Here.
Delegate Kipke,
Present.
Delegate Lehman,
Here.
Delegate Congolo,
Here.
Delegate Rogers,
Here.
Delegate Schmidt,
Schmidt here, yes.
Chairman Pruski.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. There are a few folks apparently that do not have the public link. So if anybody could reach out and share that, I want to make sure it's there. I know Alex Mann from the Banner has reached out to me. I'm obviously running the meeting, so I can't reach out to him, but if somebody would text him the link, that'd be great. But we do want to begin.
Delegate,
Yes,
it is live on the website right now. We
perfect.
just checked.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's begin. Delegate Lehman is going to lead us today in the Pledge of Allegiance and Prayer. Delegate Lehman?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Mr. Chairman, I came across this prayer actually for world peace, and I thought it was appropriate given the chaos we have going on right now around the globe. Lord, we pray for the power to be gentle, the strength to be forgiving, the patience to be understanding, and the endurance to accept the consequences of holding to what we believe to be right. May we put our trust in the power of good to overcome evil and the power of love to overcome hatred. We pray for the vision to see and the faith to believe in a world emancipated from violence, a new world where fear shall no longer lead men to commit injustice, nor selfishness make them bring suffering onto others. Help us to devote our whole life and thought and energy to the task of making peace, praying always for the inspiration and the power to fulfill the destiny for which we were all created. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Delegate Lehman. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. I know we had our legislative bond initiative meeting prior this year. I do want to take a moment, though, to introduce some of the staff because we have some new folks that are watching
put
here
his
today.
senators in a very uncomfortable situation
Oh,
where even
me
if he doesn't want to
pause.
vote, they get pressed. I was going to ask you that you need to go with the Black Caucus.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I just wanted to pause to introduce a few folks. So if people need to reach out for delegation business and understand how citations are done, or you're trying to set a meeting, Roger Massey is our secretary. Roger, if you give a wave, please, to let everybody know who you are. So Roger sets our agendas and works with the office. If you're looking for citations from the delegation or have delegation business, we have him. Matt Carpenter from DLS is our attorney. So he tells us what we're doing right and wrong. And certainly I want to thank him because he's always been there for us, certainly through the year. And of course, my chief of staff, Jen Garcia, who's not on camera, but working on the technical difficulties, always assisting, and the other staff that is support. So thank you all and welcome. We're going to open up today, actually, a new year. And this is his last term, but certainly left his mark upon Anne Arundel County, the best place for all. I could go through all the things that certainly he's done, but I know he's brought a few folks from his staff, and I'll let him introduce. But I just want to take a moment to thank County Executive Stuart Pittman for his service. I know he's been busy because I was at a town hall last night with him, and he has many more ahead. But this is his last time in front of us. And again, on behalf of the delegation, thank you, Mr. County Executive, for your service. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Chairman. I know that Chairman Pruski's been busy too. He was in fine form last night, whooping up the crowd at the Budget Town Hall. Turned out more people for the field house at Arundel High School than I've seen anywhere. So on any issue, I think. But thank you, and thank you for having me. It's a real honor to be at your first delegation meeting of the session. And you know, I also want to say that people have been asking me how I feel about session starting, and I think I love it more and more. I used to say, oh, just a lot of traffic and a lot more people in town, but it is the closer I've gotten to the work that you all have done. It's such a sort of demonstration of democracy, the way you have all these hearings and all these people engaged, and the town fills up with advocates, and it's really exciting. So thank you all, and I also want to say just how amazing and wonderful I felt I didn't make it to the Senate side this year. House ran a little longer, but being there for the swearing in of our new speaker, Jocelyn Pena Melnick, who I think was on the call. Maybe she's back and forth. I can't believe she can even make it. She seems to be everywhere. So congratulations, all of you who made that happen unanimously. And then I also want to thank or congratulate Delegate Chairwoman Bartlett and Chairwoman Bagnall now on their new roles. It seems like we have a Chairwoman Bartlett too. It seems like if your name starts with B, then you kind of go to the top and you get there. So Dylan, plan for your future. I think you're the only other B in the delegation.
I'm changing my name, County Executive. I'm changing my name.
All right. Good idea. So I've got team here, and I always like to bring some and introduce them. I want you to know them. That's the reason that I do this. The folks who I think you may have the most connection with. So all out of my office. So Christine Anderson, Chief Administrative Officers, raise your hand and they can see your face if they don't know what it looks like. Jenny Probstel, our Chief of Staff. Our government relations team is that you will be dealing directly with Ethan Hunt, Director of Government Affairs, Neil Bergsman, who's legislative fiscal policy analyst. He's been working. He's got a lot of years at the state level, but been working in our budget office and now helping us during session. Tom Nee, who legislative assistant, who is going to be running this operation before we know it. Came in as part of the governor's program that I think you may remember, and Elijah Jones, who's senior year fellow as well, legislative and communications assistant. And I think we've got Jansen Evelyn on the call. Is Jansen here? Yep, there we go. Deputy CEO for Land Use, Chris Drumbauer, our Friendly Neighborhood Budget Officer, Asha Smith, our Director of the Office of Equity and Human Rights, Allison Flores, our Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, who you should get to know, particularly if you have constituents who have been impacted or are very concerned about ICE activity in the county and how immigrants are faring. Matt Fleming, Executive Director of the Resilience Authority of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. I always want to switch it the other way, but the mayor's here, so I won't. And Vincent Molden, Director of Community Engagement and Constituent Services. First go-to person for us on constituent issues. So let me start with budget. It's what's on everybody's mind. I know it's on your mind. Governor's budget is going to be dropping here very soon. And the first thing I'll say, of course, is that while we know that you have problems at the state level, we hope that you don't just push the problems down to the county level. We don't want to pay any more expenses than we have to, of course, because we've got some real challenges. We've got some real challenges this year. Every year I hope it's going to look easier, and it never seems to. Yes, revenues are strong in Anne Arundel County. We are very, very lucky that we've got a great economy. We've got a strong tax base. And we've managed to keep our tax rates lowest in the region. We have raised them some to be able to do make some of the progress what we've made. But we're hearing from people at budget town halls, and it is just as urgent as ever. We've got our library folks, our food bank folks, our animal services folks are talking about a new facility. We got, of course, the students who are advocating for field houses and sidewalks and great community-based things that are often capital projects, trails, transit. housing education, people are talking about, the teachers have been showing up in force, and the Board of Education asked for 100 million over last year. And part of the reason is that they're facing reduced revenues as a result of lower enrollment so they'll have lower numbers from the state for sure. And they can't just in response lay off a bunch of teachers because they have a few, fewer students. We've heard from folks wanting more in our new family assistance network for folks being impacted by deportation. We've got a lot of advocates for a lot of great nonprofits in the county, that most of which that are showing up at these budget town halls. If you can make it, great. We had Delegate Mark Chang there, as well as Delegate Congola there last night. So we had 3 delegates. I think it was because you got out early. But we love to see you there. We'll recognize you, and you can speak if you want as well. As far as the state budget goes, we do a letter to the governor every year, and we prioritize. We generally lately been able to get one investment in one big capital project that we list at a good level. We listed our top 3 priorities. We asked for the Meyer Building at Crownsville, which our housing folks are doing the plan for that. It's been transitional housing, a clinic, veteran and family clinic. We've been talking about it as, but we know it's going to be an expensive project, and it's at Crownsville, and we think it's a good place to invest money. And then so we asked for $5 million for that, $4 million for the Northern District Police Station that is in our capital budget. And then the third was $5 million for the West County Swim Center. So if any of those are something you're interested in, you can advocate with us as well. Federal job cuts. Actually, Chairman Pruski asked me to touch on this a little bit. Our workforce development folks are doing, they've done some job fairs. It's been, we thought it was going to be a flood in the beginning. It's been a bit of a trickle. And then there's some folks who it's hard to get exact numbers. I mean, we know we've got about 15,400 and some federal employees, we're told, that live in Anne Arundel County, but then we have all the contractors and all of the other things associated with that. And not everybody is fired. Some of them are, leaving for a lot of reasons from federal positions, because they think they're going to be losing their jobs or whatever it is, cuts in departments. And clearly it's having a huge impact. We're seeing it in applications for county jobs, some really very highly skilled people, which has been nice. And I know the state is doing that as well, that we're able to hire some really highly qualified people. Many of them are taking big pay cuts to do it. But it's clearly a focus of workforce development, of economic development, and it's this sort of underlying everywhere thing. And it's a big concern in the budget office as well, not just the federal workers, but then the impact of what might happen to the economy on the revenue side. I think that's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, we can all look up data, and sometimes the data conflicts slightly, but I know that you all are focused on federal impacts. I want to talk about, let me just touch on a few things that are things we've done together that are still happening, of course, and I think we should all I feel very proud of and thankful for. When we got Crownsville, we got it transferred. You all fought like tigers and got us $30.5 million to get the thing started. And I can't tell you how we would not be able to do this project without that. That's the infrastructure money that has gotten us to where we are. It's also the money we used to create the master plan, which I think was one of the best community-driven processes that we've ever had. There was more alignment in what should happen at Crownsville than I've seen on anything. And so that's why we're focusing on the Meyer Building as a housing project, but we're also focusing on turning it into the park, the Crownsville Hospital Memorial Park. And so the trails work is already starting, and some of the active recreation we're looking at moving fairly early on. Some of the bigger buildings will take a bit longer. The nonprofit center was sort of our first victory, our first win, being able to open that, and that came before, and it was easier because we already owned the land. But I know that we're all going to work together in future years on that. The Resilience Authority is another that y'all created through legislation, and it has been a an amazing, wonderful, it was a great decision. We have managed to get, or I should say, Matt Fleming and his team and the board have managed to get, the board, by the way, that include the mayor until he had to step down, but $50 million in investment that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten, 32 projects, $68 million that we probably saved so far in projects from avoided climate-related damages. Also want to mention the progressive income tax that we did together. We worked on that in the beginning, then we got Mako on board, and I know there was some concern about it from some of you, but it is the reason we were able to raise for earners over $400,000 their tax rates from where they are to 2.9 something to 3.2, the top rate for counties, and that got us some money. But we also lowered it for our earners up to $50,000, and then we have that middle group that is where most money comes from. So that's been a positive. I would encourage you, any legislation that comes before you, to allow counties to go even higher for those top earners. I'd be all for it. We had somebody stand up at our town hall last night saying, I make good money, tax me more. Housing Trust Fund was another that you all created. You all have passed legislation so that we could create it to do the real estate transfer tax at a higher rate for properties over $1 million. And that is generating, it's now up to $10 million in a year. We were at about 7.5 in the beginning. And Arundel Community Development Services has used that money in a flexible way. It got us through a stage where we would have lost a lot of the new pipeline we have for affordable housing developments. We've quadrupled that pipeline, and it's because they were able to step in when interest rates were high and backfill some of those. But they've also done eviction prevention work and rental assistance and lots of amazing things. And so thank you for that. And then all of the capital projects that you guys do every year. I won't get into all of those. So just a few things that I'm focused on for this last year of my tenure, my 2 terms. One is finishing comprehensive rezoning of the county. We're in our last 3. We divided the county into 9 regions, and I think that's one of the best decisions that we made. We had these stakeholder advisory committees in each, which has created an army of people who have worked with the planning department and really understand the need, really the priorities of the county. That we need housing. We need housing for our essential workers, particularly. We need open space. We have goals. We have our green infrastructure master plan that now they all understand, this army of people, and making some real progress on that to get to 30% of our county protected by 2030. We'll have another announcement. We just did Glebe Heights. We'll have another announcement. Saltworks, the property just north of the mall, is coming soon. I think people will be happy about that. And so we've got these last 3. I feel good about the process, the way it has played out, and we'll be done with that. And then we'll start on the next cycle. Of course, it's never ending, but it's a really important community engagement activity as well. I think we've shifted I think we've turned Anne Arundel County from a NIMBY county that didn't want to do any affordable housing to the movement has shifted to a little bit more of a sustainable growth movement where they understand the need for housing and at the same time open space, and at the same time the need to do adequate public facilities, traffic, and all of that. So I feel I would say that that's the thing I'm most proud of as county executive in the county, maybe. But I feel really good about it, and it's because of the community engagement. Big bill coming. It's the Article 18. That's our zoning code coming to the county council. It's the big enchilada. It's technical stuff, but it's stuff that should have been done long ago. So they haven't done the code for 20 years and updated it. Legislation often conflicts with one another, and it makes it really cumbersome to get projects through the pipeline because the staff has to figure out how to make the code work when it wasn't really done in a holistic way. So we're hoping that that gets through without it becoming a Christmas tree with a lot of decorations on it. It's supposed to be technical amendments. So keep an eye on that and encourage people to not use it if you can for whatever their local neighborhood issue is that they want to do. But I feel very good about I feel like now is the time. We've got an amazing council that understands the need to streamline processes and to make it easier to do business in our county. So that's the point. We have a housing sub-cabinet now. We probably should have done that in the beginning. We've been talking and working on housing, but now we have a group that specifically meets and is not only keeping track of projects as they move through to make sure they don't get blocked, but also planning for some big things. Like we have to look now at what is our real ability to shelter people if there are a lot of evictions. And eviction numbers are way up already. We're getting reports from our agencies on that. And so that's another possible capital project that we're looking at doing as a result of the housing sub-cabinet. And I would encourage folks, I have not dug into what DHCD and what the governor is bringing forth this year on housing, but I will say that I welcome it. I expect to be very supportive. And even though there is this preemption issue where sometimes they say, sometimes counties don't like having the state tell them what they can and can't do on land use. My own feeling is that on housing, sometimes it's what we need, that we don't have the political will to be able to do the hard things. And we have such a housing crisis that I'm willing to accept some preemption to get where we need to go. But we can get into specifics later once we've all had a chance to really look at it. So let's see here. I guess the last thing I want to just bring up is that clearly we're all having to deal with the impacts of the changes at the federal level. And some of those changes are cuts to programs. I mean, I just read yesterday that they're really trying to zero out SAMHSA that does all the, the mental health and addiction treatment work. And our county has been so successful in that work, and it has contributed so much to our public safety, quality of life, trauma and families. But then we've got HUD that, they're threatening to take away a lot of the housing assistance that exists now. Medicaid, obviously, huge threat to our whole, our hospitals and our clinics and our people, obviously. And so we've created this federal disaster preparedness and recovery work group, we call it. It's in our Office of Emergency Management. I don't know if there's another county that has actually handled all of this the way we are handling it. It's sort of modeled after how we handled COVID. Everybody's job changes and you have to adapt. And so we're doing that through OEM. And we'll keep you informed and please keep us informed about what you hear as well, because some of these things are coming through the state to the counties, and we have to adapt. We can't backfill everywhere, of course, nor can the state. But we do have to deal with the consequences, and we do have to backfill where we can. We put that 10 million in to deal with federal impacts in last year's budget, and we'll look at whether we need to do that in this year's budget as well. And then I guess finally, in connected to the federal impacts is the ICE activity in the county just in the last few days. I think some of you saw that I kind of went public sharing what I had heard, and I hear it online just like you all. We don't hear from our police department that there's ICE activity because they don't tell the police department that communication no longer happens as it used to. They just come in and they do what they do, and they're wearing a mask, and they're, you don't know it's even them because they're in unmarked cars until somebody notices, and then they report it, and there's a group that takes that information and they post it online. They try to confirm it. But yes, we seem to have 7 at least in the Annapolis area a couple of days ago. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have continued the last few days. But I took it as an opportunity to go to the press and go to the public and say, look, this is not Anne Arundel County fighting ICE. And I'm not I'm discouraging our residents to think about fighting the federal government, fighting ICE. What we really need to do, if we care about the impacts, is keep families together and help the families. So we've created the Family Assistance Network through the work of Allison Flores and with faith organizations and a lot of groups, and put it in the Community Foundation of Anne Arundel Community Foundation, and people can contribute to it. So my goal right now, my messaging right now is the focus here isn't a battle against ICE. I mean, they seem to want escalation, unlike our police who de-escalate. These guys go out and escalate. Let's not give them that. let's actually support the families as much as we can and try to keep them together. So that's the messaging that we've got. So I'll stop there, and if you have time for questions, happy to do it.
Thank you for the update. It looks like we do have a few questions from folks, if you can, Mr. County Executive. So I'm going to just go in the order that I saw. We'll start with Delegate Lehman, then Delegate Rogers. Delegate Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much, Mr. County Executive. Thank you for your remarkable achievements over these past 7 years, and kudos especially on all the work on housing and affordable housing. My question related to land use and zoning is a question as a 35-plus year resident of the Prince George's County side of Laurel, is about the future of Laurel Racetrack. And of course, I know that, you know, with the Preakness, Pimlico being renovated and the Preakness moving to Laurel the next at least year or two, probably. I know all about that. But what people ask me about is what will happen to that land when Laurel Racetrack closes? How has the county zoned it? What does the county envision for that large piece of property? People are a little bit nervous about its future development. So what can you share with me about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty enthusiastic. Our folks at Economic Development have been staying in close contact with what is, so far, it's the Stronach Group who owns it still, the Canadians, and they've done a plan that we can share with you that's it's mostly housing. It's a beautiful community. It's a transit-oriented development. You know, we would like to see some open space, some recreational activity, some and you know, some housing as well, and some commercial. And so, but there are rumors out there about the potential of it becoming the training center again. So, you know, you've dealt with racing long enough to know that they can't seem to make up their mind about anything. And when you think you have a plan, then the next, you know, all of a sudden it changes. So the last I heard is that they were talking about trying to make a deal, you know, with the Stronach Group to buy it. You know, the Maryland Racing, you know, it's now Maryland's government racing, buying it to turn it into the training center because they already have a track. So,
well, and I had heard through people I know in the equestrian community, and I don't know how public it is, but that the training center that they have their sights set on is not working out. There are all kinds of problems with the land up there. It turns out there are grading issues, and there's no way. I don't know how somebody didn't do their homework and realize that. I had not heard the next part of that, which is what you're saying, that the potential could be for Laurel to become the training center. So that's brand new news. So interesting.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's that big a secret, but it's just talk. So
okay.
It's just talk.
Okay. And last thing, because Councilwoman Hummer had told me, but this is going back a year or two, that a chunk of Laurel Racetrack is wetlands that really can't be developed realistically. Sure. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And they had some forest kind of issues that they're having to resolve. And so, but that's why the design for a community would have a lot of open space and trails, and you know, their idea was to sort of maintain the you know, the history and of it having been a racetrack, and the design included the race.
Yep. Okay.
So
thank you so much
about it, but
okay, thanks for sharing that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Right. Thank you, Delegate Lehman. And we're going to go to Delegate Mike Rogers and then Delegate Vice Chair Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, County Executive Pittman. And again, kudos to all the successes that, you know, the aforementioned successes, and for truly making Anne Arundel County the best place for all. So I'm gonna piggyback off of some of what Delegate Lehman said, and just mention, and you know, I've been pretty consistent about this, that please keep us in the loop on, you know, changes or developments as it relates to Laurel Racetrack, because, you know, that's in my backyard. I mean, I can walk there from my house. I do walk there from my house from time to time. And so I know that the folks in Maryland City and Russet and the surrounding communities are very much wanting to know and being to know as to what's going on there. So if you could just certainly keep us in the loop, that would be greatly appreciated. The question I had is, and I haven't heard it yet, but I want to hear, what your perspective is, or if you're hearing anything with regard to data centers in Anne Arundel County, because, NIMBY is alive and well, and, we got to come up with power sources. And even though that's not on Economic Matters anymore, it's something that's important to the state. So just want to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I've not heard of anything big coming. I could be wrong, and we can get back to you on that. I remember when we did county legislation on data centers, the big concern was having enough water, and people weren't paying much attention to whether there was enough power. Should have been, but so I think clearly y'all are working on that at the state level, and there'll be some guidelines, I understand. But we can get back to you whether we can check and to see whether there's anything in the works that we should know about.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. County Executive.
Thank you, Delegate Rogers. Going to use Vice Chair Simmons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and welcome back, County Executive Pittman, and thank you for all the service that you have brought to our county in building up Anne Arundel County. This delegation is dedicated to the support of our county and our county initiatives. I just want to take the opportunity to expand on thanking you and your remarkable staff for all the work that y'all have done over the years of service that you have been in office to bring a renewed sense of hope here in Anne Arundel County as we move forward. And obviously we have some challenges ahead, but we function as one team. So we really thank that partnership. As you know, I am in the North County part, and I border along Baltimore City area. Baltimore City and the Brooklyn Park area has one of the highest numbers of encampments of homelessness that filters over into the Anne Arundel County side. We also share a zip code under the 21225 when it comes to resources and equity and income. These things become detrimental to the Anne Arundel County residents in the sense of their ability to have equitable access and representation when it comes to financial gain. And so we continue to work with your office and along with the state to make sure that we are sowing good seeds into the community. Two things I want to focus on. One is that obviously we're in a food desert in the Brooklyn Park community. And this has been over a number of years with different grocery stores coming and going. And so we continue to ask for the help of your office and your guidance and what we can do to mitigate that. I know our county council members have been working to try to recruit grocery stores into that area. So we still need that initiative from your office and that help. I want to thank you for your work with the Enough grant, the Enough Act, and obviously that is a huge bonus for our community. So we're very excited about that work. I want to draw down specifically to your constituent services office, and the work that Vincent and his team has been doing is remarkable. Just simply unbelievably the way that they have been hands-on, I mean in real time, to community needs throughout the county, right? Throughout the county. And I think this is a model program for the entire state when it comes to constituent services and how to work along government strings up and down the line. But when it comes to Anne Arundel County, I just want to reiterate the fact that we definitely need to make sure that we are moving together to build our communities, to build our schools, housing, transportation. We have that reentry center on Ordnance Road that you have invested in, the county have invested in how we make sure that the state representatives is intact with what's going on at the county level. Sometimes there's a disconnect with information. Majority of the concerns that we get are county related. Specifically, to me, I know the majority of stuff that I get in my office. So that partnership is critical when it comes to how we represent the county of Anne Arundel. So I just want to say for you, if you can continue over your last year in office and with your staff, we're looking at some of the things that's still left on the table that need to be done here in Anne Arundel County and what we can do to help you get it done. So I know we're on the clock, but we really need help.
Yeah. Hey, and I just want to thank you for your work on the Enough grant and with the committee there, and congratulations, because when they told you that nobody was going to get more than $500,000 and y'all hit the roof, y'all pushed the roof up and now you're getting over $1 million. So congratulations on that. And the fact that the New York Fed is looking at the Brooklyn Park Enough program as a way to get private investors into the area is so cool. Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you, Vice Chair Simmons. I'm going to give it another 5 seconds here, wait time to see, are there any other questions for the county executive before we move on?
Hey,
All right.
I just want to say one more thing before closing,
Yes.
if I could, besides thank you, I'll say thank you. But also I was very proud and amused to hear Nick Kipke in support of Jocelyn Pena Melnick on the floor. Delegate Kipke, you did a fantastic job with that. It was the right thing at the right time. So made Anne Arundel look good.
Thank you. Jocelyn and I have worked together on many issues for nearly 20 years. And so I've appreciated our working relationship, and of course I'm very fond of her on a personal level. So I hope one day I'll have those feelings about you, County Executive.
Come on, man.
This season, but thank you very much.
I have them about you. We'll start there.
We're going to take one last question from Delegate Congolo, and then we'll move forward.
Well, it's funny because that was actually, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to express my sentiments towards County Executive Pittman. I want to say that we haven't always agreed politically, but what I can honestly say, the things that we agreed on, we have collaborated and worked well together. And I was happy to hear the comments you made about the mental health and addictions treatment that's been done across the county. You know, that's been my passion here for almost 20 years. And I never cared if there was an R or D behind any leader or elected official's name. I was at the table more than willing to do this work for the people. And I'm just proud to see that the work continues and it has grown over the years. But I do want to just let you know, I don't know if you've ever heard this or not, but I gave myself credit for something. So when I was on your transition team, one of the first things that we had discussed was what would be a good slogan for Anne Arundel County. And my suggestion, I don't know if you ever knew this, but I've suggested, I said, I want AA County to be the best for all Americans. That's what I want AA to stand for. So I always thought you shortened my slogan and then took out Americans and just made it all. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Just wanted to say thank you. It's been a pleasure. Again, I look forward to working with anyone, whether it be Annapolis City or Anne Arundel County, whether you're an RD, reach out to me. Thank you.
All right. Well, I stole it from the Pledge of Allegiance, and they didn't mention the Americans part in there.
Oh, shoot.
Thank you, Delegate Congolo. So on behalf of the Anne Arundel County delegation, we want to thank you, Mr. County Executive, for the work that you've done, your public service, right? Normally, a lot of people don't understand the time and effort it takes, especially being the county executive in Anne Arundel County. So again, on behalf of all of us on the delegation, kudos, round of applause. Thank you so much for your service. And we still look forward to working with you through this year. And thank you again, your staff.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move forward on the agenda. And this is no stranger, certainly, to Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. I would like to introduce our new mayor, Jared Littman. And I want to just take a moment here for point of personal privilege. For those of you that don't know, he obviously served in Ward 5. I think I was on the school board then, but I remember him coming to meetings, certainly engaged. He was always involved. I know Marlene, his wife, and him at KB Hardware, and they just celebrated the anniversary. He's been on the Resilience Authority, Police Accountability Board. I probably know his CV more than he does because I pay attention to that. But we want to welcome someone who has done a great job so far, and I know he's going to be doing outreach in the community. But our new mayor of Annapolis, Jared Littman, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the entire delegation. It's really an honor to be included in this call and have the opportunity to talk with you all. I'll share some highlights about what this administration has been doing, and I'll share some priorities that we've asked of the state, and certainly leave it open to questions. But I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the comments about County Executive Pittman. I certainly view him as a mentor and an excellent communicator and thought leader. And I will take note of the fact of how many people he brought on this call for future reference, if I should be duplicating that person power presence. But joking aside, thank you, County Executive Pittman. So again, thank you for having me here. I've been working on my 100-day agenda, first 100-day agenda, I should say, because hopefully there'll be many more 100 days. And the first 100 days has been an effort to work on staffing and building the team. And so we met with all of the directors now multiple times. Instead of having a traditional transition teams where we have outside residents outside of government talk about what we should be doing, we're flipping that on its head a bit. And we've been meeting with staff. And we're having these series of roundtables, 19 in all. And we've invited all of the staff, city staff, to come to these various meetings as a chance to share their experiences, their ideas, their issues on how they view what Annapolis could do to do better. And that so far has been very well received. I've talked to a number of employees who said they'd never met the mayor before, let alone been asked for their input. And so it's been a real privilege to kick off those meetings. And that's been going well. We actually just started out this past Monday. I go to each of those meetings to kick it off, but then I exit so that staff can feel like, and we don't have directors in there either. So we're trying to keep supervisors out so that the staff there can feel safe and comfortable in sharing their concerns. We've engaged a private group, Dewey's Partners, to lead those meetings. Department directors. So we have, prior to me coming in, we had an acting city manager. We are kicking off a search for a long-term city manager approach. We're using a firm to help us do that so we can look far and wide and not just look at government, but look at people from different experiences to have the best leader that we can find. And I know there's a lot of great talent out there. So we're excited about that search. Very much looking forward to making progress there. We have a few other acting leaders. We have acting city attorney, although the law office, I think, is in great hands with our acting city attorney. And we have some other positions as well, including finance director that we'll be looking for doing a search for. I also have a number of top priority issues that I'm trying to tackle, at least begin the initiative of how we're going to tackle it, although I don't expect many of these issues to be completely tackled in the first 100 days, of course. And so those issues include city docket and certainly looking to some partners here. The county's a partner, the state's a partner, Resilience Authority as a partner. The difficult and ugly part of the project has been going on or starting, and it's going to take another expand further on Monday the 19th, where we'll be removing even more parking. And so certainly a major project, certainly one as well used and trafficked as City Dock. It's going to be difficult and a challenge. And there's all sorts of side effects that people might not necessarily think of. If you think about parades and races, and certainly traffic to the downtown businesses are all negatively affected, frankly. And so not hiding from the fact that this is going to be a large inconvenience for a long time too. We're looking at least over a year for the first phase to be completed, and 2 years for the whole project to be done. Still working on getting funding. So, certainly don't be surprised, looking for additional funding to help with projects, but navigating through all those many, many challenges. It takes a large part of my time is focused on City Dock. Permitting is another challenge. We are focused on having making progress on the process being more predictable, less expensive, and faster. And I'm also looking for opportunities along with the city council of where we can remove obstacles, remove things that cause delays, particularly for housing, of moderate sized housing. And that leads me to another priority of housing. I want to elevate it as a priority in this city where we actually have a housing policy. I don't think we actually could point to a current policy on housing. And one of my asks to our state delegates here is to think about, as you're passing legislation or possibly revisiting existing laws, of not necessarily adding requirements, but looking for opportunities where you can help reduce process, maybe exempting that middle-sized housing, that moderate-sized housing that we all talk about needing so much, so that whether it's adequate public facilities or other requirements, looking for ways that we could speed up that process. Because if we can speed it up, we make it less expensive to build, and then we can be faster on actually delivering on more moderate-sized housing. Certainly parking is always an issue here in the city where everything is tightly watched, especially downtown, and especially with the City Dock project temporarily taking up parking. Very excited that the Hillman Garage project was done first, added over 150 parking spots. So it's not so much a lack of parking, but changing habits and getting people used to parking in Hillman and other garages first. Short-term rentals is certainly a priority that I'm working on. If you haven't seen, I've introduced through Alderwoman O'Neill, Comer O'Neill, and I'm a co-sponsor, a proposed moratorium for 12 months on issuing new licenses for short-term rentals. We have a couple exemptions to make it less overbearing, including applications for owner-occupied residents and not as a limit on renewals for existing licenses that are in good standing. So those are all some of the issues trying to tackle. We're getting into budget season, of course, as well, and certainly we're paying attention to stresses that the state and the county have, and we are certainly conscious of. I guess I'll echo what County Executive Pittman said of hoping that you don't make things harder, knowing that we will be limited on new requests, but hopefully that things that you're currently funding, I appreciate and ask that those things be continued. The pilot is top of mind. Certainly the pilot we have a lot of state buildings in the city. And so we are happy to work with the state and provide services, but that pilot is essential to making that happen. We have a new council. So 4 returning members, 4 new members, plus myself, although I have some experience, so I kind of fall half and half. And so we're working on collaboration and training and working collaboratively. I think I'm very excited about this council and our ability to work together. Certainly be a work in progress, but I think we all are coming with good intentions and efforts. Certainly, if you haven't seen, there was a lot of discussion last week about the upcoming sale of the Boatyard restaurant to the Atlas Group. Certainly, I respect Dick Franio's decision to strategically retire and plan, and I give him a lot of credit. You know, the man's over 80 years old, and we should all be so lucky to be able to plan on how we move on. Obviously, Atlas is a bit of a hot spot because of their history, and I'm not attacking them by any stretch, nor defending them. It's a private sale from one group to another, but just thought you should be aware of it if people bring it up. Leadership personnel changes. I mentioned a couple of the acting positions. The HR director is also retiring as of February 1st or January 30th. So it'll be another vacancy that I'm looking to fill. So as you all are encountering a lot of qualified individuals, we're hiring. We're open for business, and we have great opportunities for a number of really important thought leaders. So please keep your ear out for leaders in HR, finance, overall city manager. So let me get into some state budget priorities. And I also, just before I get into that, I just see a lot of friends and other colleagues who I've met this week. And I just had the pleasure, I just want to call out Delegate Jones I got to see this week, Delegate Baylor I got to see this week, Delegate Bagnall I got to see you this week, Delegate Howard I got to see briefly at the MML. And for those who I haven't met in person, I'm happy to see you all, and look at this as not Democrat, Republican either, as someone else mentioned, but we're a team and happy to be a part of this team. So getting into some budget requests. Talked about the pilot and how important that is. And frankly, the pilot, as generous as it has been, it doesn't completely cover the the state share of services. And so I'll be certainly looking to do a data-driven approach for how we might be able to better align actual use of services. We talked about in my letter to the governor that I've shared with our delegation, the request for $5 million for electrical wiring under East Street. The timing is in particular because of existing work that's being done under that. So while that street is going to be dug up for, I think it's gas lines, water lines, we'd like to get the electrical lines buried there as well. I know that's expensive projects, but that certainly is in the historic area, close to the state buildings as well. Like many of you, we're struggling with supporting our public safety services. So our fire department, frankly, needs a lot of help and resources, whether it's personnel support in terms of more personnel, peak medic unit, their vehicles we need to replace, and our stations need upgrades. And so our specific request to the state was for help for 2 medic units at a total cost of $1 million. but that's only a piece of our greater need for our fire department and frankly also our police department. We've requested $500,000 for low-income housing maintenance. I want to thank you for your prior support of it. It's that same amount, $500,000 in state funding last year. That prior amount of money, the $500,000, went to support renovations at our housing authority properties that enabled them to get them back online so that residents could live there and they can ask for rent. And when they're offline, we don't get rent. They're in a bad spiral of not being able to keep up with repairs, not pay fines, and they're not collecting rent. And so that amount last year was very helpful to rectify that situation. This renewed request is to cover short-term shelter or relocation costs for upcoming projects. So these are residents that are temporarily displaced. This is for projects like in Robinwood and Eastport Terrace and Harbor House, that while those properties are slated for upgrades, we need to support our residents who currently live there. We've asked for 3 level 3 EV chargers, consistent with work that's being done by the Resilience Authority and the county. And then we have money, we've requested a small amount of money for the hazard mitigation plan. The total summary of the budget request is $6,810,000, which for us is a lot of money, and I imagine for the state it is as well. Happy to talk further about any of those requests, but trying to be cognizant of the amount of time I've already taken, and I want to leave time for questions. So again, thank you for your partnership. Thank you for inviting me to join you all, and I'd be happy to hear any questions you have.
Well, thank you, Mayor Lippman. It looks like we do have 2 questions that I saw. We're going to start with Delegate Dana Jones and then Delegate Schmidt.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. I just wanted to say, Mayor Lippman, it has been absolutely a joy to work with you, you and your teams, collaboration, the way that you're listening to our entire shared constituency in our city has been truly amazing. To think that you were just sworn in on December 1st and all that you have been able to do, your response time, and truly just the listening, the reaction and the collaboration. But as you host all of my colleagues, I just want to thank you again. It is a pleasure to work with you as a partner for this city. So it was not a question. Well, let me just end by saying, isn't that so? Thank you so much for your professionalism and your partnership. Isn't that so?
Thank you so much, Delegate. I appreciate that, those very kind words. And I didn't mean to mention some of our attempts to better engage with our residents. So we are hosting a series of town halls, again, emulating someone who I look up to, Stuart Pittman. And we'll be reintroducing office hours and reintroducing neighborhood walks. So these are situations when residents say, come look at Clay Street as an example on top of mind for me for a neighborhood walk of wanting to pull together leaders, of actually bringing not just me, but the relevant directors on the road to see what constituents are talking about. And so we can have a better appreciation and then discussion about how to solve those issues. And those town hall meetings, we're going to be taking the directors with me again to all 8 wards this spring, actually kicking off in February, so that residents have a better sense what their directors are doing. Because certainly this is not just me, this is the entire team here getting work done. So thank you for mentioning our outreach to the residents, Delegate Jones.
It means a lot. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Schmidt.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mayor. We definitely have to get previous Mayor Buckley to teach you how to say city dock properly. He definitely has a unique emphasis on that there. Yes. I have a couple different questions regarding housing, and maybe we could talk offline of where that housing would be if you're going to do from the ground up, if you're doing renovation work, and then more specific, do you know how many vacant homes that you have in the city right now off the top of your head by any chance?
I don't, but I could find out and get back to you.
Okay. And I think that's, some of the things that we can work on together. I've sold some properties here in the city. I've actually sold some properties on Clay Street in the past, and work closely with some estate and probate sales here in the city, and love to maybe partner with you on that. Great. I haven't had a chance to meet you yet. I did see Karma walking through the neighborhood on Wednesday. We had a chance to chat for a little bit, and appreciate the opportunity to do those, walk and talks with you throughout the city.
Great. I'd be very happy to do a walk and talk, and we could look at various properties. I'll get back to you on the vacancies. To answer your first question, so in the comprehensive plan that the City Council approved last, I think it was 2024, maybe it was 25. I'm losing track. It was a long campaign. Does that to you, I guess. Anyway, they not rezoned, but in the comp plan identified properties that were previously zoned as retail or commercial that are slated to be rezoned as mixed use. And I see a ton of opportunities for that. On Forest Drive, for example, if any of you know the old seafood market, that's across from Robinwood. It's a busy area. How wonderful would it be if that was mixed use, where we had a grocery on the first floor and 2 or 3 floors of housing above that? What I'd personally like to do, and when I talk about permitting improvements, is I'd like to proactively have the city identify properties like that, where the city is proactively approving a draft plan, where it's identifying, say, for that parcel, where if we say to the private world, not that you have to propose this plan, but if you did propose this plan that had grocery, 2 floors of moderate sized housing, you would be essentially pre-approved for that project, that this is already what we want. It would allow someone to apply for whatever they wanted to, but if you value time, and we all value time and associate money with it, it would be an opportunity to save a lot of time and money to propose what the city has pre-approved. And I think there's a lot of opportunities around the city to do that. I've got other ideas as well of how we can improve our housing, but there are opportunities for limited increased density. I'm sensitive to the arguments about single family housing. If someone's already bought there, not wanting to necessarily allow or be comfortable with duplex and triplex and quads, although I think places in Eastport, for instance, do a great job of integrating those 3 styles of houses within single family housing. And so I don't have that personal objection, but I could see the argument. But that's where I also get to short-term rentals of they're eating up long-term housing stock, and it's driving up the cost of housing as well. So all those pieces relate together.
Yeah, Mayor, you bring up a great point. I mean, that has been some of the reason why we are in this housing shortage, because of short-term rentals nationwide. I mean, there are big hedge funds and traded on stock exchange companies that have bought large portions of cities all throughout America. And when you take that available inventory off the market, this is what leads to. And I wanted to touch too real quick. I want to put this in the back of your mind real quick. I know Director Zeldin and I had a chance to meet to discuss some of the stuff they're doing at the federal level to reduce some of the red tape. I know they reduced somewhere around 100 in the first 100 days, and another 100 different red tape issues at the federal level that could potentially, trickle down to state and city level as well. So.
Thank you. Happy to follow up with you more offline. And my email address, which I'll share with you and everybody, is very simple. It's just Jared, Jared, @annapolis.gov. And so that way you don't have to worry about spelling my last name correctly with 2 T's and 2 N's. But please feel free to reach out to me, Delegate Schmidt, and be happy to continue the conversation.
Yep. Thank you very much. Great to see you.
Thank you, Delegate Schmidt. I know we have Delegate Bartlett and the speaker. I don't know if the speaker needs to leave, but we'll let Delegate Bartlett go and go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to defer to the speaker. Actually, she could go before me. Thank you.
Awesome. Speaker Peña-Melnick.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You have seen me come in and out like 5 times because I started with meetings at 7:30 in my office. Those of you that know me know that I don't miss an Arundel meeting ever. Okay, ever. Like I only missed when my mom passed away. That was it. So thank you for working with me and being flexible. It's going to have to be that way. So give me a little grace, okay? And thanks for being patient with me. And thank you, Delegate Bartlett. I just wanted to introduce myself to the mayor. I wanted to just let you know that my office is open. I hope to see you soon and that we can meet and work together. I love that, to work on that relationship.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. It was such an honor to see you get sworn in on Wednesday. Thank you for inviting me and letting me witness history there. I'm so excited for you, and I would love to have continue our relationship and have a wonderful relationship for you. I'm thrilled that our speaker is in Anne Arundel County again. And so that's in itself is great news. And just wish you all the success and congratulations that you have deserved and earned. And I look forward to working with you.
And I look forward to working with you. Very impressive, the work you have been doing, and everyone speaks so highly of you. And I just want to tell my colleagues, thank you for being flexible with me as I have to jump off again. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and we always appreciate you coming to Anne Arundel. Thank you.
Love Anne Arundel.
All right, Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being here this morning and providing information. I want to especially thank you for giving sort of a history of how money was spent and what you're intending to ask for. With that said, I love the relativity that really helps when we get into specific ask. If you your staff, whoever is on board with asking for those specific asks, if you could continue to do that and let us know, sort of, because we work year by year on various projects, but unless I drive around town or whatever, or I remember what some of the projects were outside of my district, I may not know, but I want to know how those projects are growing, and it's pretty exciting to have been a part of an idea that actually came to fruition. So I really I thank you for what you've said today, and if you all could keep that up, that would be great.
Happy to.
Yep. So that's all I wanted to say, and just thank you for showing up, and this is a late welcome, but welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Delegate Bartlett. Happy to do my best to keep this whole the Anne Arundel County delegation informed. And certainly we recognize that the city is geographically small and, but from a budget perspective, small. And we need the help of our partners, like in the county, like in the state, and certainly in federal partners as well. So appreciate your support and interest in helping us achieve our goals to improve the city and the county.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Bartlett, for those comments. Is there anyone else? I'm going to give a little wait time to see if there's any other questions or comments. Well, Mayor Littman, on behalf of the delegation, like the speaker said, our door is always open.
Thank you.
We've always had a strong partnership, as you saw with the county executive, and obviously you as the new mayor. We want to make that. And again, if you need anything, reach out, and we look forward to working with you on their staff. And communication is critical when it comes to government. So this is a good start. Welcome, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very much appreciate the invitation and the warm welcome from you all.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that is it for our guest speakers, but we do have some other announcements that are critical to delegation business. First of all, you want to mark your calendars, and I'm assuming an email will also come out from Mr. Secretary, but the deadline for presentations for LBI is Friday, February 13th. I'm going to repeat that. Friday, February 13th is going to be the deadline for presentations for LBIs. If they have already presented, you're not presenting again. So just make sure that's listed, right? We don't want folks having 2-3 opportunities. Everybody gets an opportunity. We're fair and equal. Dues for the delegation, $65, same as last year. Obviously, that goes towards us donating to charity. We also have a delegation lunch to take care of our staff. All that information will come from our secretary, so you have that. Rules. We did not vote on rules for delegation. That is something that we do need to do. So with the help of Matt Carpenter and council, we will be sending them out to folks. There are 2 suggested amendments, by the way, that have been brought up, and we do need to vote on those. One of those related to being on camera for voting and also being there. Other delegations have that rule, so we probably will be considering that. Also, to clarify in our rules what we mean by when voting with a majority. What is that number? So those are 2 issues that I work with council on to make sure. And before I turn it over to her, that's it for delegation business, Mr. Secretary. Did I miss anything? Okay.
Looks good.
Thank you. Well, before I do that, Someone's birthday is tomorrow, and I know that I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but I know she also has her hand raised. But Chairwoman Bagnell is going to be celebrating a birthday tomorrow. So on behalf of Anne Arundel County, the delegation, we want to wish you a happy birthday. I don't want to take time to sing because I would probably destroy the song, but certainly on behalf of all of us, we appreciate all the work. Obviously, as the former chair, what you're doing now as chair, but thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you have your hand raised.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the courtesy. I just wanted to ask if before we vote on the rules, if there could be consideration for the fact that we do now have a member of our delegation who is the speaker, and there might be situations where being on camera would be difficult. So if we can consider a special exception. As we are, and you may have done that already. So I just wanted to put that on the record so that we're not, so our speaker can participate, in any capacity.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. So you will again get an email about the dues, about the rules, and also a reminder that went out today. So again, that will be all. Please check your email. Obviously, is it intended right now that next week we will be meeting for delegation? We will make that announcement on the floor. For those publicly watching, when we announce the day before the delegation, an announcement is made on the Maryland General Assembly floor for the House. And then obviously there's a joint delegation. We announce that as well. We do sometimes have our senators come and welcome. We want to thank the public. And I do not have any other business. I'll wait and see if anybody else had any additional. Looks like Vice Chair Simmons has something.
I believe there was a email that went out yesterday asking us to reconvene at Chairwoman Heather Bagnell's office after this meeting. So if we could, if you have time on your schedule to jolly up there for a few minutes, that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all. We want to wish, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And I appreciate all our staff, Roger, Matt, Jen, and everyone who helped out. Mary Cruz as well. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.